welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pony drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message, hit the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pon Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try enforcing some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. This is episode number 779, and I am your host, as always, N.A. Eric. And tonight we are talking all things Udyr. That's new Udyr for those who couldn't put it together. But and here to talk about it with me is John and Fenrir. So, Fenrir, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Cool. How's life been going the past week or so? How's league been? You know, what's up with you?
Just working. And I played a little bit of League, not much. I played in community game nights. We did like a RAM 1v1 tournament. It was pretty fun.
We did do an impromptu 1v1 tournament. That was pretty fun, yeah. How did you do in that? Because there was like 7 or 8 of us going. I didn't quite pay attention to how everyone was doing.
I finished 4 games in a row.
Oh, okay.
Won 2, lost 2.
Gotcha. Nice. What did I play in that? I played Hail of Blades Cho'Gath, and then I played Grasp Nautilus, and I played Gragas, and I don't know.
Zach and the Vayne.
Yeah, I played Zach as well, and they picked Vayne. Yeah, all of them were just bad matchups.
And you won.
I did win. I did. Yep. I won on that. I lost as Gragas. I won. Oh, I lost with Nautilus because Nautilus was into Fiora as well. It was like I got the worst goddamn. I mean, I was playing Hulks. I was playing tanks, so I kind of brought it on. But I figured someone would be playing like Caitlyn or something, and I could just like jump on their face and not let them get away. But it didn't end up working out all that well. But I think who ended up being like our unofficial champion? It was I think it was Frank. It was Frank.
Kindred.
Yeah, it was Frank Noah. So congrats to him, and yeah, that was pretty fun to do. I'd like to do more of that or so. But yeah, cool. Glad everything's going well with you, John. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Same old. With
Nice.
As far as like work and stuff, but as far as league, I've been still playing good bit of ADC. I've been playing on my alternate account. I just queue up like AD carry and then jungle, and then I'll play like if I get jungle, I'll play Rengar or something like that, or Graves. My kind of my usuals, but
Sure.
I've been liking AD carry a good bit. I've been playing a lot of Jhin. Been playing Caitlyn. I've been pretty much banning Sivir every single game.
Yeah.
I want to play her, but I don't know. I don't want to have to play against her either, more than I would want to play her.
So if your team has first pick, do you ever ask them to B1 it or no?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've done that before. I've done that when my sports picked like Yumi or something like that before. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like a time or two, but yeah, I've been enjoying that. And otherwise, I've just been like playing some with some of my friends, and then when I'm not feeling league, I've actually been playing a little Fortnite with one of my friends. I haven't played in forever, so I've been giving that a go. And that's pretty fun. It's been a while since I played a shooter, but I've been enjoying it, getting the aim back and whatnot.
Nice. What's have you been using any of the crazy skins that they released? Because I know they just dropped like a Darth Vader skin or something.
Oh yeah. So I logged in for like the first time in a long time, and I was like, for whatever reason, I had like 2,000 of the currency or whatever. So I was like, I'm just gonna buy the battle pass. So I just bought the battle pass, and I've been getting like all these free skins, and I've got they did like a Dragon Ball Z crossover.
Oh my god.
And I got a free Goku skin, and I was like, all right, I gotta use this. So
That is pretty cool.
so like when I get frustrated with League, like we'll play like a few games of that or something, or we'll just do like rank flex or ARAMs or something.
Nice.
But that's been fun, just changing it up a little bit.
Yeah, nice change of game scenery. I've been doing the same
Yeah.
actually. I've been playing. I played through the original or OG Mirror's Edge the last couple weeks, and that was fun. It was harder than I remember it being. Like I remember beating it in middle school, and then it was difficult. I remember some spots, but it wasn't like it was a lot less forgiving than last year. I played through Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which was I think it was 2016 maybe. It was the reboot of it, but it was like not a sequel or a prequel. They just completely restarted it. So it's the two games exist in alternate universes essentially. But yeah, it was a lot less forgiving than Catalyst. But it was good. I definitely wish there was more content to it though, which that's what Catalyst had. It was a longer game. It was also open world-ish a bit more, so it was less linear. But yeah, it was a lot of fun doing that. And then I just started playing Far Cry 4 again because that's my favorite Far Cry for sure. And I realized like, oof, my first person shooter skills are rusty as hell because I'm trying to shoot at these the Royal Army soldiers in these Humvees and stuff as they're driving by, and I'm
Mm.
just like, I'm missing them slightly over time, and I'm starting to get a bit better. But
Yeah.
yeah, that game is so good. Like the world building, and you just feel so immersed in that. It's unbelievable.
What kind
Yeah,
of game is Mirror's Edge?
it's a free running game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like if you haven't seen anything of it, go look up like the trailer, just go look at stuff. It was released in like 2006 or so. You can get it on
Mhm.
Steam. It's not that expensive, but it's really good. It's like a 4 or 5 hour playthrough because you're gonna die a bunch of times, but like you can get through levels in like 10 minutes, um, if you manage to perfectly run through it and stuff. So it's not
Gotcha.
gonna eat a lot of your time, but it's really cool. Yeah, it's free running and there is some combat. You can pick up guns from people that you fight and beat them up essentially in hand-to-hand combat, and then you can use those. Catalyst, the one that they rebooted, you could not pick up weapons from anyone that you knocked down, which I like that a bit more because later on in the game, like if you can kill someone or you just like knock them out and then you take their machine gun and then you're just like it's basically a first-person shooter at that point. Um, but yeah, it's a really fun game. I definitely recommend it to you and anyone else who hasn't played it before. Yeah. Other than that, works good with me. Going to the state fair tomorrow, which is a huge thing in Minnesota. It's the second biggest state fair in the country, only behind Texas, because shocking, Texas has to have the biggest of everything. So, um, yeah, but it's like probably it's only like 5 minutes away from where I live, actually, a 5 minute drive or so. But there's like millions of people that show up over like 2 weeks or so. It's huge. Um, I don't know how big it is in square footage, but people look up like the Minnesota State Fair, and it's absolutely massive. So I'm gonna go to that. But other than that, just gonna enjoy the long weekend off and play some games, and yeah, that's about it. So
Nice. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is I'm going to the mountains this weekend for the long weekend. Like group of my friends have been like planning this trip for a while. So we're going up and doing that, and it's one of my friends' birthdays too. So
nice.
kind of just doing it as like a double thing. But there's like 10 or 12 of us going.
Are you
So
guys
we got like
just camping, or do you have like a cabin that you're renting, or what's the
no, we
situation?
got like a this big cabin
Okay,
that we're all staying in. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
total booze fest then. It sounds like.
That I mean, we're going hiking. We're playing golf. I'm looking
Okay,
forward to that. So I
good
played.
choice.
Yeah, I'm going. I don't know the course is actually. I haven't played in probably 3 weeks, so it could
Oh,
be
that
rough.
long. Okay.
Yeah. So it could be rough, but we'll see. I'm definitely gonna hit the range a good bit before I go on. I think we're going on Sunday, so I'm probably gonna go hit the range while I'm there. Prior to that,
Gotcha. Okay. What's your handicap for golf?
I mean, I try not to do that. I mean, I try to just play and get the best score I can, and if
Sure.
it's really bad, I accept it,
Yeah.
for what it is. And then
Yeah.
I mean, I just try to improve from that. But I mean, I can't, I guess, expect too much of myself because I've been playing like that long, and I really haven't gotten like legitimate lesson either before.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've just had like my friends who play golf kind of teach me some, but
I
I don't
aim
know, I'm looking forward
for
to it.
I aim for 5 strokes per hole, whether that's a par 3 or a par 5, because that's
Yeah.
kind of the distance doesn't bother me all that much. It's accuracy. I cannot putting's the best part of my game, and chipping. Like I'm great at that. I cannot get accuracy for the life of me with my drive. I have such a wicked slice, and sometimes it shows up and sometimes it doesn't. Like I was playing a couple months ago, and
Mhm.
I teed off, and it was a par 4. It was just a long straight one, and I teed off, and I sliced the ball so hard that it went 3 holes to the right that were all like it was like these, and it just showed up. And then I found that ball later. It was like, oh, it's over here, and it was on the fairway of one 3 over. That's how hard it sliced. Like I smashed the ball, but it shot off. So
Yeah, I would say driving is like just consistency is probably the weakest part of my game, but I would say the like 7 to 9 iron I'm really comfortable with, and then putting I'm pretty good at. Like I really just generally never try to go for like a one. I always try to go for a 2 putt if possible. Like I feel like at least for me that's always the. And then if I usually end up doing like 3 or something if I
that's
don't get to, which is still like I think reasonable to
That's
go
what I'll
for.
say my tactic is too. Yeah, the reason I don't get 1 putts is because I go for 2. That's what's happening with me.
Yeah.
I
Oh
agree.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you just making everyone else feel a little better about themselves.
Exactly. That's what I used to. I mean, yeah, I'm fine if I don't succeed and other people are doing better. That was kind of my whole mantra when I was on swim team in high school and stuff for like my neighborhood that I was living in, and then
Mm.
um, I was a good swimmer, but I was not like I didn't do I only did it in the summer, so I wasn't doing everyone else was on like their school teams and they were trying to go in college
Yeah.
and stuff. Like I was not doing it for that. I was doing it to have fun, and I was coaching kids and stuff and having fun with it. But like when I would finish in 6th, I would be fine with like, oh, I only got 6th place ribbons. Oh well. Well,
Yeah.
I don't
That's
care. I don't care. Everyone else, you know what? I'll take the hit so everyone else can feel a little bit better about themselves. Like, oh, at least I didn't finish 6th. I beat that guy. Meanwhile, I'm that guy. I'm like, I don't care all that much.
I did the like summer swim league. That was a lot of fun. But
Those were
I only
fun.
did it during summer too, and I never took it seriously either. I would just like, oh, your event's now. Oh, well, let me race up from my spot on the towel like
Yup.
100 feet over there when I have to go in like 1 minute.
Yeah, I did that too, and then I swapped over to coaching. So then I was like managing a lane, and then it's like, okay, who are you people here? Okay, go find this
Yeah.
person, and then oh, it's my turn. Okay, let me put this down, and then put on my goggles. Okay, swim, get back
Yeah.
out. All right, let me do this again. And my voice is always shot because there's like 90 races that I have to
Oh
manage.
yeah, and there's so many people there, and they're all like trying to find that one person in
Yup.
a minute.
Yeah.
So difficult.
Yup. Yup. So. Okay, Fenrir, what's your? Do you play golf much? Because I know that you do some landscaping
Yeah.
for golf course. Okay, so what's the weakest and strongest parts of your game then?
The weakest part is definitely just my tee shots in general. I usually have really good second shots, but I'm just trying to get that under control.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'm like a 9.5 handicap.
Okay, I think that's good. I don't know. I don't know. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's like I mean to just like dumb it down, I usually shoot like 10 over.
Okay, that is pretty good then. Nice. Cool. Well, while I'm sure the listeners enjoyed this titillating conversation about golf and swim and everything like that, they have come here and we are all gathered here as well to discuss Udyr because on this patch, I think it was, yeah, so like last week, Udyr got I think it's the VGU, the Visual Gameplay Update. I don't know. They change these acronyms so often that who knows exactly what all of them
Yeah.
are. Because then there's the CGU, and then there's the
Yeah.
complete gameplay overhaul. As well. Like I don't quite know, but yeah. So um, I'll just do a quick run through of his abilities, then we can talk about all things Udyr. So his passive, he has no ultimate ability and has 4 basic abilities. So he's someone that levels all of them. Every time you use one of Q, W, E, or R, you empower your next 2 autos, and which grant an additional effect depending on the stance that you've taken. Switching stances will replace the empowered attacks from the previous stance, so you can't, press R and then press E and have the empowered attacks from both of them. You only get to choose one, which is the active stance that you have. Swapping stances has a 1.5 second cooldown on his other abilities, so you can't immediately swap. You have to swap, and then there's a 1.5 second cooldown. He can periodically reactivate the ability that he's currently in his stance after 0.25 seconds to enter an awakened stance, so an empowered version of the ability, refreshes the cooldown, and the stance with refreshing the cooldown, and the stance gives bonus effects depending on the stance as well. And then also when you use an ability, his next 2 autos are given 30% bonus attack speed and refund 5% of this passive total cooldown, so that that periodically empowering your ability, the next 2 autos refund 5% of the cooldown. So that's that. And that cooldown is 50 to 20 scaling down. Wow, I didn't think it got that short. I thought it was around like 40 all the time. That gets really fast then. Jesus. Okay, so that's different than his old thing, but than his old passive. But so his Q is basically the same-ish. He enters claw stance, so tiger stance is essentially the same idea. His next 2 autos do bonus physical, so he no longer has the dot, but now each auto itself does more damage. And then if you empower this, then he gets more bonus attack speed while that's going on, and the empowered autos gain 50 bonus range and strike lightning 6 times, which deal magic damage to the target, based on and then a percentage of their max health, which has an AP ratio. And it chains up to 3 nearby visible enemies. Interesting. So it doesn't hit invisibles as well. And there's a damage cap for monsters. So basically the same sort of thing with his Q, but it chains between and does some max health damage instead of just flat damage. His W is the same. You get the shield, so the turtle stance is now boar stance. I think this one, it's Iron Mantle. You get your next 2 autos give 15% lifesteal and heal for a flat amount as well. And you also gain a shield for 4 seconds. If you recast it, you get a bigger shield and you get double the healing than you would in the normal form. And your healing is reduced against minions, not monsters. Key there. So instead of gaining health every 3 hits with old Udyr, now you gain health for the first 2 autos. Then his E, just like now this is the ram, it used to be the bear stance. He stuns for 0.75 seconds, although his auto is technically a mini dash, so you can block it with mobility, with grounding abilities or things that cancel out dashes, such as Poppy W or Cassiopeia W, Singe W. Anything else that would prevent movement, probably a Talia E. I don't know how that interaction would work, but you can stop it, and then they get stunned for 0.75 seconds, and then there's an per target cooldown on getting stunned. If you empower this, then he gets extra bonus range, or also when he casts this, he gets extra movement speed and becomes ghosted for 4 seconds. When you recast it, 75% or 75 bonus attack range and additional movement speed, and he's immune to crowd control for 1.5 seconds. No extra damage in lane there, just stuns. Then his R, the Phoenix, it's still the Phoenix, it's just the Ice Phoenix instead of the Fire Phoenix now. His next 2 autos do bonus magic damage to nearby enemies. It's no longer a cone, though. He also summons a blizzard around him, which is a pretty generous area, which deals magic damage every 0.5 seconds to nearby enemies and slow them. Minions take a reduced amount of damage based on the ability level. If you reactivate this, so if you then empower this ability, the blizzard gets stronger, does more damage, and then will follow whichever target Udyr attacks, and then it will follow them. So if if he dies or something, that thing will continue going, or if he walks away, it will continue to follow for the next 3 or 4 seconds, and then it'll dissipate as well. And it also if you're in the glacier, you get slowed. So and then you get an increased slow with that. So I know that was a lot to go through, but now that we're all on the same page of what he all does, I mean, what were our first impressions? What were our first impressions when we saw what was coming out, and then are those reflected in game? So Fenrir, I'll start with you. What were like when you saw everything that was coming out? What were your first impressions of Udyr?
When I first seen him, like all the stuff they like released, thematically, I'm like really glad they stuck with like the Freylord, however you say that. With having the like Volibear as the Q.
Mhm.
I think the shield is like a legendary character. It's supposed to be Freylord, and then the Orn, and then Anivia for his like R ability.
Yeah.
I just think that's pretty cool how they were able to stick with his thematics and introduce like all the other like big name characters in that
Mhm.
region.
Yep. And then so with what you were seeing with his gameplay, I totally agree with that. When what you were seeing with his gameplay, was that realized in when you're playing against, with, or as him? Do you feel like what they were trying to accomplish, did they accomplish it? Or if not, where did they fall off as well?
Yeah, thematically they did a great job. Gameplay
Mhm.
wise, I don't know, it just doesn't really like fit the champions that he's like trying to mimic, you know? Like Volibear, you think, you know, is like ultimate returns off turrets. Like that's what I think about Volibear, not attack speed. Like damaging opponents with auto attacks. I don't see Volibear with that. And then
Sure.
I mean I guess I get the horn, you know, he's just all CC, so I get that one. And then Anivia, it does well with kind of mimicking what Herald is, but with like a Victor vibe to it, to where it follows around.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. John, what do you think?
I think it's way better
Oh,
than
sorry.
original Udyr.
Yeah. No, I agree thematically that I think it is. Gameplay, I have my own thoughts, but I'll go third. John,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I guess like just like I think it looks really clean. Like especially was it the Spirit Guard Udyr? Like
Mhm.
the one that has all the individual like chromas that they put out for like super cheap or whatever for each different stance. I think all that looks really good. I mean, I've played 5 games, I think, of Udyr, and then, I mean, I've played against him a bunch, both like jungle and in top lane. Um, I mean, his win rate isn't good, but I think that's just like a reflection of just like not having familiarity with the kit yet and whatnot, similar to like a new champion. Um, I mean, as far as the clear, like I think the second time I jungled with him, I did like I I think it was like a 315 or 3 like 17 clear with him. I mean, his clear is pretty good. His full clear is still pretty good, which I mean that is kind of in line with old Udyr, which I like, kind of like a power farming champion. He seems like he's not as strong early. Like it seemed like old Udyr could kind of like just stat check a lot of people, you know, but I don't. It's harder for him to, I feel like, kill people like one on one earlier. Like he can like get away from people, but he can't like stick on them and kill them really easily unless he like uses everything like his ghost and whatnot. But I don't know. I mean, I think as far as gameplay, I do like that they're. I kind of like that though because I think that was, to me, one thing that was a little annoying about old Udyr was like it seemed like I could never fight him early, and then also he's just gonna farm super fast, and if I'm gank and make one mistake, he's just gonna take my entire top or bottom side, and then I just, and unless he makes a mistake, I'm never gonna be as strong as him, kind of deal. Like it just felt like inevitable, kind of. deal. He like I when I played against a good Udyr, I hated it because it was like if I made one mistake, he's just gonna be up like 20 CS, and it just feels really bad. Like he's so strong and so fast. Like you can't kill him, you can't catch him. He can split really well. Um, I think actually he could like I think the new Udyr can split pretty well. Like if he wants to. Um, with the attack speed and his R is insane. I've seen a little bit of the like attack or like no points in the queue, full max R in top lane with Udyr,
Hmm.
and I've seen that as like a strat that like people have been doing. Because like they'll poke with his R and then max W second and just you get the sustain from his W.
Yeah.
And then just like even under turret, like it does percent health, like percent max health damage. And I mean, it does a lot, the empowered R. And I mean, if they're under turret and you have like a big wave, there's really not like anywhere for them to run. Like they kind of just get hit by it.
Yeah.
So, and it's like really good for setting up dives and stuff like that too. I mean, I think, I expect the win rate to go up, honestly. I don't think it's weak.
No, I agree with you. So yeah, I haven't played as much of him. I haven't gotten a chance to. He's as Fenrir said, maybe this was on or before, but he has a high ban rate. He has one of, if not the highest ban rates in the game right now. As of right now, it's 40%. So he's gone in 40% of games. I haven't had a chance to get my hands on him, and I haven't been playing a ton of League. As I said, I've been playing some Far Cry and other stuff. But when I have been, yeah, he's been banned. But when I have played him, I've done a couple of jungle clears in practice tool. I've tested out some mechanics as well. There's not a ton of mechanics you really want to check at all, but with practice tool dummies, I've tried to see if there's any flash stuff, but it's all autos. There's nothing really to try. Like when Neela or Renata came out, I was seeing like, okay, can you flash Q? Can you flash R? Like flash E? What do those do? And things like that. But yeah, but you can also with fun fact, and I'll get back to Udyr. With Neela, I found you can, uh, if you EQ, the Q follows in like that little tidal wave, but you can EQ flash to redirect the Q as well. It's really fast, so it's really hard to do. It's like a much faster version of Pike E, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, like the jungle clear at first seemed a bit weird. He had a couple of had a couple of hot fixes, so they nerfed his W on a hot fix, but they buffed the Q and the E, and they didn't touch the R. And his win rate went up a little bit since then. I think he was 44% on release or so, win rate in the jungle. And I haven't monitored his top win rate, but his top win rate is better, I will say. He's at 48.3 in top lane and 46.5 in the jungle. But yeah, I like you said, I think he is much better than the stats are giving him credit. I think a big problem with why he has such a low win rate is because he is weaker early, so people are expecting old Udyr strength early. Like level 4, you could basically 1v1 almost anyone, kind of including Trundle, honestly, because of the R damage that was all magic. So you didn't even need to worry about Trundle's the 1v1 god at level 3, level 4, but even then you could beat him. And so he's weaker early. His clear is slightly slower, so you have to get used to that as well. And then his passive actually requires you to think a little bit, so there's a little bit more skill expression as opposed to just using abilities and keeping up his I don't remember what it was called, the old passive, but just attack speed and move speed, keeping that active. And then, yeah, his you have to think about those abilities, but also runes and items I think are bad, so are what is bringing it down. Thematics great, gameplay I personally prefer old Udyr. Honestly, I played a lot of old Udyr. I played it like since a little bit before it became meta in season 10, and then been playing it since, even when it got nerfed into the ground and then slowly buffed back up. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll talk about like items first then, because John and I both expressed that people are building wrong on him. So right now, the most common item path looks like it is Sunfire Demonic Deadman's Plate, which has a 63% win rate. which sounds weird if you're seeing all of these win rates, like everything with the first 3 items, they're all above 50%. But that just seems like we said, he's weak early, and his win rate by game length kind of tells a different story. So 0 to 25 minutes, op.gg has him with a 45% win rate. Then 25 to 30 minutes, if that's how long the game goes, then it's 47. If the game goes between 30 and 35, you have a 50% win rate, then he's balanced. Between 35 and 40, it's 51.17, so he's above average. And then 40 plus, it's also 51.08, so it's basically the same. So what this is kind of saying is he's weak early, but if you make it to a couple items, you're going to be really strong. So you just have to strategically make sure you can do that. So whether that's going to be in the Fiesta that is lower elo, or you're farming well and getting high CS numbers and high econ, but at that point you also have to manage, are your lanes getting stomped by someone else? Like it's harder to get to that point than it is with old Udyr, but if you get there, it's just as strong or stronger, in my opinion. It's stronger in different ways.
Yeah, I will say to that point too. I played a game like I think this was like a couple days ago. I was playing Graves and I played against an Udyr. I am like I'm like 6-1 and like 5 at this point. I'm up a level on him. I'm up a full item on him. And I'm like, all right, well let me just like kind of fight this guy and feel out the situation. Like I do like half his health before he even like walks up to me. And then he actually just 1v1s me and kills me. And I like used everything. I like ulted him, I smoke screened him and autoed him like 4 times for free without him hitting me. Like and I red smited him before all of that. And it just
Jesus.
didn't matter. He just straight up 1v1 me a level down and I'm like a 6 kill Graves. I'm like, what? Like
Yeah.
even our it was funny like our 80 carry or it was like our support was like, wait, what? I didn't even think I had to rotate to that. I was like, me either. Like what? But I mean, when he's still seems like pretty strong in 1v1 situation, like against especially against AD champions. Like I don't know. It's I kind of I'm probably gonna play it more. I want to give it another go. See if I can get the clear a little better because I don't know. I just the only thing for me with him is like I feel like ganking with him is just not great. It's like
Just use your ghost. Don't be afraid to use it.
yeah, yeah. That's because I like taking a ghost on Graves too, and that's what I do. I just pop ghost and then gank. But yeah, I guess that's true. I will say also an Udyr, the thought of like an Udyr that can't be CC is just scary.
Yeah.
I like it's just I like though that they make it like very clear though. They have like a text. I think they changed that actually.
It
Like
says CC immune right above his character.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Because right when he released it, didn't do that, but like they made that very clear. Which I mean, that's pretty fair. You should probably know if there's a Udyr that can't be CC'd running at you.
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
But I think that aspect is really strong with his kit too. I mean, I think really all of his empower abilities are like pretty insane. Like his W also. I think one thing that I thought about was like with some of the rune changes in the resolve tree, like Shield Bash, they just didn't touch at all. I feel like that's like one thing in the resolve tree they haven't really touched out of all the other stuff they had messed with. And like it's so good on him. Like it's just disgustingly good on him. Like he can proc it so well and get great value out of it.
Yeah, and he can proc it every time that because shield bash cooldown I think is like
Yeah.
8 seconds, maybe it's
Yeah,
10,
it's
but
short.
but
Yeah,
he
it's short.
can his W cooldown is less than that always. He will always be able to proc it.
Yep. And also just like with his empowered one too. Like I think like Shield Bash and Revitalize one game. And like I was like I did okay that game, and like I looked after the game, and was getting like an insane amount of value out of both of those. Like just the shielding I got, like two revitalized was like 2,000 healing and shielding or something like that.
I'll try that because my preferred runes, and that's something else also that people are not optimizing right. I don't think is um, going lethal tempo. The most popular is Conqueror by far. I don't
Yeah.
think Conqueror is his rune because you want attack speed to be lowering your passive and getting those empowered autos off. Plus, your autos do a lot of damage too. With if you have Q active or if you have your E, you're able to stun from further. If you have lethal tempo going, like it's so good on him. And then lethal tempo, and then yeah, the normal other things that are taken in the yellow tree. But then I like to go Nimbus Cloak Celerity. But those are also like Nimbus Cloak is fine. Celerity's good on him, but I could totally see how sacrificing those for Shield Bash and Revitalize would be great.
Yeah, it's like it just makes you really tanky. It makes you so tanky, even like early on. I would say. I guess the only thing about, and I guess this was a problem with old Udyr is like with him like having access to his ult, level 1, and then all like that's what you're maxing to. So it's
Yeah.
like you go Q first, and then you do RR, but then it's like then you gotta choose. I mean, now you do W next, but then it's like it kind of delays your gank, I guess.
Well, I did it. I did the same as I did with Old Udyr. I went into that game trying to, because I'd only played him in a normal game once. I went into that game treating him not itemized wise, but mostly the same. And it was I went Q R R, but then I went E R, and then pick up W at level 6, and then you finish R, then you finish E, and then finish W. Which right now that's not the popular skill order. It's to go. It's still R, but then R W E.
Yeah.
Which I get because that shield is strong, and obviously it was so strong it had to get nerfed. But at the same time, um, I don't know, like the extra move speed is so good because you get to move so fast when you get that
Yeah.
E up, and if you're able to use the shield that often, does it really that make that much of a difference? I don't know. I didn't think that it did. Granted, I was also legendary in that game, so my view is crowded. I was just running over everyone. It was a very weird game. Fenrir can attest to that. They had a blue cane who would continually dive for him, and then the rest of the team would overcommit, and then we would just slaughter them as they ran into us under turrets sometimes. And they also had no tank busters at all. They had a lethality, misfortune, and an Akali and a Riven, and then that blue cane. So Sunfire, demonic force of nature felt great. They could not touch me.
Yeah, I think that build feels great on him. I will say, I've like every time, every game I've won, I've gotten that build.
Yeah. Force of nature
And
could be given up for Frozen Heart or for something else, dependent on
yeah,
what's going on. I then was when they surrendered after that, I was going to recall and grab Warmogs, um, and then but like just to walk out of the fight and walk back in because
yeah.
it was just stupid. But yeah, there's a lot of different defensive itemization, so it's not always that third item. But those first two I feel like are pretty core on him.
hmm
Especially Sunfire. You don't want to go any other mythic. I've seen some go Chem Tank. I've seen a couple go Frostfire. It did not look pretty. They were not doing well.
I've gotten a Dark Seal on him a few times too, and I mean that feels. I mean, if you just don't die, and I mean you're farmed like, and you're ganking, as long as you're getting the assist and getting your team ahead, like you're still gonna be huge as Udyr.
Yeah.
And his R does like an insane amount of damage with the empowered R.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really nice for tanks too.
It is, yeah, because it does percent max health, but it also does the
hmm
flat damage. And slows everything around. Like it's just, it's
It's
nasty.
hard to itemize against him too.
It is.
Like, what do you even build against him? It's just like,
I don't know. When I've played against him, I've played like Fiddlesticks, and then that feels fine because I'm just bypassing him and going to the team, and that feels fine. And I'm sure, like, as Lethality Graves, when you're playing a Rengar, you're not even touching Udyr. You're just passing him and going to the rest of the team there. So,
yeah, I just like bola him and then run away.
yeah,
Yeah, or like smoke screen and run away.
but if you're picking someone that wants to duel the other jungler, like maybe a Kindred or a Trundle or something, like you need to get on him early, otherwise he will be stronger than you later. Like Trundle could
Mhm.
not deal with him late. It's just not going to work.
Yeah,
Kindred probably could. I mean, I don't know. There's other junglers. Nidalee's not going to be able to deal with Udyr.
Mhm.
Shit, who else fights?
I guess. Yeah, I like. to when with Rengar and Graves, because I played both of them into Udyr and have beaten it, and then also I think lost to it. At least on Rengar, I've beaten it and lost to it. And it's like I think in the games where I've beat him, it's his. If you just counter gank him and he doesn't see you coming in a 2v2 that you is like a decent 2v2, then I usually feel pretty comfortable in that situation. But I mean, if he just is able to gank for free and get somebody ahead, and then you know, and then you don't, then it kind of can be rough because then you
Yeah.
can't fight him either.
Yeah, the champions that he has positive win rate against are Nocturne. He has almost a 52% win rate against Nocturne. Hecarim, almost 51. Pantheon, 50 and a half. Lee Sin, and that's it. So he has
Yeah.
and those are all, but it must be no, like, I'm looking at the champion graph and I have it on the screen. Almost every champion, he has a gold deficit at 15, which that's probably artificially low because he has a low win rate and people are not playing him right. But still, the only champions that I see him having a positive gold difference at 15 are Nunu, which that makes sense, super low econ. Zac takes a while to get going. Amumu is 2 gold. Vi, he has more gold than, and then Rammus, Poppy. So very low econ junglers, and that's about it. Other than that, like Graves, it's negative 570 gold at that same thing with Rengar, negative 500. Nidalee, negative 740. Jesus.
Yeah, I feel like the first 3 levels, like he cannot fight
Nope.
Graves or Rengar.
He can't fight
Really.
most anyone. I mean, his worst matchups are the people that love to brawl junglers. It's Mordekaiser, Kindred, Trundle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Those are the 3 worst, and they're all 43 win rates, basically, which is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about it from the jungler perspective, but so I haven't played against him as a laner, but I'm sure that both of you have. What do you, or not like him being a laner, you being a laner, and him being coming out of the jungle. So what are both of your thoughts on when he's coming to gank you? What you have to watch out for? How do you try to approach and stop his ganks? Fenrir, I'll start with you. What do you think about that?
He's easy to ward for. So as like coming from the bot lane as support, he's not gonna have like crazy gank paths. I mean, unless he like takes Hex Flash for some reason, that's the only thing he would be able to. I mean, Hex Flash behind your turret or something, but I don't know. He just doesn't seem scary, especially in the early game. Like I feel like maybe if he gets a couple kills under him, you start worrying about him, but you're almost inviting him to come to your lane. I feel like and just make sure that your jungler's there as well, because it almost feels like it's just a guaranteed win 3v3 depending on who your jungler is.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because like we were saying earlier, Udyr doesn't want to fight early. He wants to farm. So if he is coming to gank early, and you have even numbers, you probably should win that duel. Assuming you don't have a super weak bot lane. Like it's not like a Vayne Yumi or something.
Yeah. I think also his as far as his like pathing, it's super predictable. Like I feel like almost like most Udyr is just full clear. And
Mm.
it's like as long as you're tracking like where they're starting, like I mean um where they're probably gonna gank. So it's like you can play around that. I mean before, like I was way more afraid to fight him like old Udyr
Mm-hmm.
earlier. Like generally if I was playing something like weaker, I would always like path opposite to him and go accordingly from there. But now I definitely feel more comfortable like just fighting him or doing taking like 2v2 situations against him because yeah, I felt like before more so he could like just stat check people like old Udyr and just it seemed like he could kill people pretty fast old Udyr like even early.
Yeah, he absolutely could. It was a much more reliable version of Old Mundo out of the jungle.
Yeah, like I feel like now like level 1 to like 4 for him unless like someone is just pushed up really really far and like you can't it's hard to gank someone who's full HP and kill them, even if they're pretty poorly positioned, just because he doesn't do a ton of damage early until you get some items. because he can only he can lock down someone with a Z every however many seconds.
0
it?
point. It's not even a second, so it's basically a micro stun.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. You just kind of have to farm up, like we were saying. Um, but then once you get there, I mean, it's like, I mean, you're just kind of unstoppable once you get to a certain point. Like if you can get there, like if a game is going to 30 minutes and you've been farming the whole time, like you're still gonna be pretty strong.
And he has, I'd say, New Udyr is less fast, and he has less early power for sure, but he has a lot better sticking power. It's much harder to get this Udyr off of you than once he's on you than it is to get, and he has a couple items than old Udyr. Old Udyr, like you could you could pull him away, and he could. He didn't have the CC immune, which is the big thing, and would I would venture to guess that he had less move speed on his E as well. Um, so he was even more reliant on Ghost than I think this Udyr is. But now, if you have CC immune and you have Ghost and you're taking Blue Smite, which I would say take Blue Smite, don't take Red Smite on Udyr, then people can't get away from you. I mean, then you're also combining in your ult, which has, or the Phoenix stance with the slow. Maybe if you're super rich, you decide to build like a Rylai's, so then that slows even harder. You could do. Some people go Dead Man's Plate as well, depending. So then they're moving even faster, and then they slow you on autos. And then Randuin's active maybe. It totally depends, but. With celerity as well, like this guy, you cannot get him off of you, and it's so frustrating. It's
Yeah, it
so
is.
frustrating.
It's almost like I guess it almost like it definitely keeps with the Freljord theme though. It's like it feels like Ash kind of because like once he gets on you like that like you're not really gonna get away from him, especially if he has Blue Smite and his R up. I mean, he's just gonna stun you, Blue Smite you, R you, and then just run you down.
Yeah, because level 11, I think, when he has his E all the way upgraded, maybe level 12, it's 65% bonus move speed. Um, and then if you have if you empower that, that's an additional 30 to 40%. So if that's additive, we're looking at 100%, 105% bonus move speed for 4 seconds, and it decays over a few seconds there, and you're ghosted. And if you use Ghost and you use Blue Smite, like, we have to realize how much speed we're talking about. It's absurd. It's fucking stupid, is what it is.
Yeah,
You just got to play around it right and weave in and out of fights. And if you're at the point where you can just run right into their team, they've screwed up and screwing you over early. Like if you can, I imagine if you can shut this Udyr down early, he's so useless. He's like a Shaco early if he doesn't get anything on the board.
yeah,
Yeah.
he definitely is. Especially like if he gets super behind and the like your jungler is very ahead, like I mean he has like no presence or pressure.
No, and
Like he can't really do much.
if the lanes are all not able to get any prio, and then they can just roam free and get vision into your jungle, like
Yeah,
uh,
he can't do any objectives or anything. Like
no, he does have. I mean, that's actually a good thing I forgot to mention as well. That we should talk about objective control, like and objective taking as well. With his R and the max health damage, and with the damage it does, and his shields and stuff, I think he has very good. He probably has better objective damage and objective secure than
yeah,
old Udyr.
yeah, safer too, I think.
Yeah, it is safer for sure. Because old Udyr you could use just to heal a bit. You would pop W, get one auto, and that's the only auto that's going to heal you. And then you swap off your stance to something else. But because it was every first auto, and then every 3 after that would heal you. But yeah, it's the first 2 when you use your W, then you swap away to something else. And yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was taking dragons super easily even before I went and bought any major items. When I just came out of base with on my first back, I got Lucidity Boots and Balmy Cinder, so I was rich because I did 2 full clears and a scuttle, and then maybe a kill as well. But then coming out of there, I was fine to kill a dragon and take down Rift Herald pretty quickly. It was, um, it was kind of stupid. And I would highly encourage people not to build other defensive boots unless you really need them for a team, and build lucidity boots, because it reduces the cooldown of everything on him. It's not just, and he needs those cooldowns to swap between stances. So
Emperor's Ghost. So
yeah, exactly. Like highly, highly, highly recommend you do that. Unless they have 5 mages, okay, Merc Treads makes sense there. If it's a team with a ton of on hit, you're talking like a Yasuo, a Yone, Vayne, Senna, and like a Graves or something, or a Master Yi. Yeah, take tabbies then. That absolutely, or steel caps. Sorry. But otherwise, take those lucidity boots. Those are the third most purchased boots on him. Most people are taking other defensive boots, and I think that's a big problem, as why that also contributes. Why maybe take Swifties if you're feeling a little spicy, but lucidity boots for sure is the way to go.
I almost feel like just going lucidity boots almost full stop. By the end of the game, the more E and W and E's that you can get off, I think it would be more lasting in the long run than Treads or Ninja Tabby.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because you're not, uh, unless you're not worried about getting bursted by the time you have your boots and you have an item or so. So those would be more about.
oh,
I agree.
one thing I wanted to mention, what didn't you like with old Udyr mention when Fimbulwinter came out, you're like, I've tried this item on him, I wish it was
Yes,
good.
it was
I
not
think
good. I tried it so many
so
times.
so I think actually now with new Udyr, I think legitimately might be decent top for top Udyr
Okay.
because you can get I mean you can proc it super easily, right? Like you can just pop your R and then just run at them and then you just instantly get like a bunch of stacks from your tier, right?
And also when you're slowing them, you get the shield for then shield bash
Yeah,
also. Yeah.
exactly. So it's like, I really like think that that could be decent on them too, like for especially for top.
So top Udyr, I'm looking, it's Sunfire across the board, and then Demonic is the most popular second, but there are people taking Winter's Approach, turning that into
Okay.
on its third or maybe second, depends obviously on how fast you're getting at your
Yeah,
needs at the time. But yeah, that's the top three builds. Two of the three contain Fimbulwinter.
yeah.
Um,
I think
yeah.
that like at least on him, it would be nice to just have a tier and then hold on to it because I do think like you were saying before, like Sunfire and Demonic are just super good on him. So
Yeah,
like you
and
don't really want to delay that more than you have to.
right, and a tier is super helpful on him, even if you end up selling it, just like sometimes you do on like Top Gragas or something, just because his abilities
Yeah.
start out pretty expensive and he has a low mana pool at start. They do,
Mhm.
as he levels up, all of his abilities become cheaper, so as time goes on, the tiers and mana are less and less needed. They start out, all of them are 45 mana, and when he has mana of 271 at level 1, he has not I mean he has not very many casts and he has low mana regen as well. He has 7 mana regen per 5 seconds. I guess I don't know if that's low. I don't know how much people what other champions generally have, but I feel like that's pretty low because especially how fast if you're trading with someone you want to be spamming cycling through your spells, you need mana. Otherwise, you're going to run out of mana pretty fast and you can't lane at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um I don't know. I think this is kind of like I looked around to see what all we should talk about with Udyr, but I think this is mostly I think we talked about a lot of the important stuff. I'm looking at some of the spicy first items. There's demonic first item. I see someone taking well, so there's 1,000 games when Prowler's Claw was taken. So John, why don't you talk about
Oh
this a little bit
yeah.
beforehand? You were talking about this.
Yeah, so one of my friends who played a ton of the old Udyr, he was just like playing the new one, the new rework with Udyr and just like trying different builds and stuff. And he was trying this like split push full lethality build. It was like Yumu's, Prowler's Claw. I think he had like Edge of Night. Um, but I mean he would just like get a kill and then just split for a few minutes and then I mean, eventually, like, it's a little feast or famine. It seems like that strategy at least. But like, I mean, when you're ahead, like you're getting so much income with that build because you're just deleting waves, deleting towers, like counter jungling, and I mean you're just getting super fit in the early game, which like I feel like to the end of like talking about how he's not so good early, like kind of bypasses his weak early game in that way. If you can like get a pop off a little bit with him in the early game, like if you can get a double kill bot and like and do that build, I mean you're gonna have so much gold. Like I think he he got like a kill on the top laner at one point, and then he like our top laner died too, but then he had Herald and he just heralded, got like 4 plates, got the tower, pushed like 4 waves, counter jungled the enemy like jungler's top side,
Oh my
full
god.
cleared, and then was just like had just was it rolling in cash. Like he just bought like 2.5 items.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
he was like, I mean, he was just running around like there was one point where he was like 2v1ing and he would just like go back and forth, like stunning them and then queuing them, and it was doing an absurd amount of damage. Also, like his Q is like he would 3 auto people, like if they were squishy. It was wild.
Yeah, that Q has a 6% per 100 bonus AD, and the empowered is plus 20% bonus
Yeah,
AD.
yeah. So he would just like blue smite them, Prowler's Claw, and then just keep pushing Q.
Yeah, that's nasty.
And then they would if they did try to get away, he would just push Emus, and then he would just go fast again. But that seems like a fun build. I kind of want to try that. Um, but
That
but
sounds
yeah,
like
I want to
something
give.
for like when I'm drunk and I've learned this Udyr a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Or yeah, you're like you learned more. You just like go to the first drag, get a triple kill, and you're like, all right, time to buy 2 lethality items.
That's what I do with Vi. I go in thinking, okay, I could either
Yeah,
go Bruiser or I can go Lethality, and it more often than not, I get a couple of kills or I get money early. Okay, looks like I'm going Essence Reaver. I'm not going Sunder.
yeah, that's a super fun item on her Essence Reaver.
So, I'm looking at the different items that Udyrs are building. There's 1,000 games of Udyr with Riftmaker, which makes me curious here. I think Sunfire just is too good, like as a to item there.
Yeah.
But thoughts on Riftmaker there? I don't know what I think.
You're playing into like 4 melee comps, and they don't have a lot of CC. I think it could work.
Yeah, because I mean, you could get his passive proccing with his R so quickly.
Yeah, and then
I guess it gives
it's
you Omnivamp too and AP.
7% Omnivamp. Yeah,
Nashor's Demonic.
Riftmaker, Nashor's Demonic. Interesting. I was thinking like Riftmaker, one of the like a defensive item of something you'd need, and then build more AP maybe, or just Riftmaker full tank, like you see Jungle Mordekaiser do a lot of the time.
Like Riftmaker Demonic.
You could do Demonic. You could even skip Demonic and just go like Riftmaker, Fimbulwinter, Force of Nature, Frozen Heart,
Could even go
Spirit
Rylai's.
Visage, Rylai's. Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
like
that could be fun.
it would be kind of interesting to see like a Riftmaker, Demonic, Rylai's, Nashor's Tooth game. But if you're getting those 4 items, it's already. I feel like at that point it's all just overkill, and you're gonna win the game anyways if you're getting to 4 items with Udyr.
Yeah, he's gonna be a big boy. At
Yep.
that point.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was a cheaper item, an item I would like as like a 4th item on him would be like gargoyles or something.
Yeah, stone plates. It also feels so bad to build because you have to sit on what, like
Yeah.
1050.
Yeah.
It's they need to change the build path for that because I get it. It's a good item, but it's
Yeah.
so underbought because it feels terrible to sit on.
And it's just terrible to sit on, and it's just expensive too. I feel like.
And Riot's done a great job or the item design team or whomever, the gameplay team has done a great job of revamping the store. So there's hardly any items you have to sit on 1,000 plus gold for now. So the only ones I can think of are pink rods when you want those, but even once you have the components, death cap is 1,300. A BF sword, sure, but once you have all the components for anything, I don't think anything with BF sword is more than like 700 or 800. I honestly can't think of anything. Maybe no, GA is even like 600 or so. I know it's going up in cost in the next patch, but like I can't think of any items. Sunfire actually is 900, I think, once you add the components, because it's an expensive
Yeah.
item. But
I guess at least for a non-mythic too.
yeah, it should
Like at least
be.
with the mythic.
I would even be fine with them lowering the armor and MR and
It's a
making
lot.
it
Yeah, it's
cheaper.
a lot.
Because I'm not buying it for the resistances. I'm buying it for that fat shield.
Yeah.
So take stats away, make it cheaper, and just keep the components the same then. If it
Yeah,
was
I
like
think it's a good
700,
item.
if it was like 700 and then it provided, I don't know, an appropriate amount less of armor and MR, that sounds great to me. I would buy that then.
Yeah. 60 is actually just like a lot. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, definitely is worthy of the price point though, is with those stats. Like,
It is.
I would definitely be okay with that. Them like lower the cost by like maybe 200 or 300 and lower the armor and MR just to make it like more accessible. Yeah, because
Yeah.
no one buys it early. I mean, it's impossible to build early.
Yeah, it is. What they could do, yeah, instead is make it they could have chain vest, Negatron cloak, and then the Aegis, and then like
Yeah.
100 gold or like 200 gold or something. That'd be so much better. It's like Zanya's. Once you have the components, it's like 80 gold or something, like 200, some shit like
Yeah,
that.
I honestly wish the Negatron. I mean, I don't. It might. I mean, I don't know the specific amount of items it builds into, but I just feel like
It's very
Negatron cloak.
few.
Yeah, like I feel like they should build into more stuff, especially because it makes. I feel like the only component for most items like that that's like a hybrid kind of thing is only the mantle, right? Like the basic MR, and then it's
Yeah.
like you're building the item kind of for the MR and then for whatever else it does, but then it's like until you complete the item, you're losing out on like a good bit of the actual like MR value of the item. You know what I mean? So it's like you're sinking so much gold into like a bunch of other stats before you like fully complete it and get the ton of MR that you actually want the item for. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I just looked it up, and Negatron cloak builds into 2 items. Do you want to?
Wow.
Can you guys guess what
I
those
know
items
wits
are?
end.
Nope.
Wits really?
Nope.
Force of nature.
Yes.
Megatron cloak. Which one's that one?
That's the upgraded null
white one?
magic mantle, the 900
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
The white one. The white
Yes.
cloak.
Yeah, the white one. Yep.
I
You
haven't
said it
set
builds
up.
into 2 items.
It builds into 2. John said force of nature, which is correct. What's the other
And
one?
then is abyssal mask.
No.
Is it Mikhail's blessing?
It is Mikhail's blessing. Yes.
Gotcha. That's
Yep.
wild to me. Like,
But
yeah,
no,
everything actually builds into. That's
Oh,
right.
2 items,
Spectre's cowl is like only the mantle and a ruby crystal.
Spectre's cowl is just abyssal mask and spirit visage.
Wow.
Hmm.
I wish there was more stuff like MR items like that were that like built out to the mantle so that you could. I don't know. I just feel like. I mean, this is
Negatron,
just my
like
opinion.
they just need to make Negatron better. Like it used to be built into Wit's End actually, but Null Magic Mantle itself right now builds directly into Wit's End, into Turbo Chem Tank, into Gargoyle Stoneplate. It also builds into Frostfire Gauntlet. So those are 4 impactful items that you're sitting on 450 gold for.
Yeah.
Stoneplate feels so bad. Oh my god.
Yeah. I guess like in my opinion, I just wish there was more MR variety options.
There needs to be more MR items. I mean, let's just add
I
more
guess
items to the store in
in
general.
just across
Yeah.
the board. Yeah,
I really wish adaptive helm was still in the game.
yeah. I thought that's a cool item.
Agreed. Yep.
I think it was, especially now with so many. I mean, I guess maybe not right this moment, but like Leandri's is such a picked item.
Yeah.
I think.
But even then, there's a lot of champions that apply dot that are pretty popular,
Yeah.
or maybe not necessarily popular, but good. We're looking at Teemo
Yeah.
is actually kind of good. People don't play him. What
Mhm.
Lilia, Malzahar,
Swain and Swain kind of like
Swain, exactly. Yep. Cassiopeia, Fiddlesticks.
Didn't it apply to like the same ability as well, not just DOTs?
It
So
was.
like if
Sorry, go ahead.
Cassiopeia was hitting you with Twin Fang, like it would reduce the damage with repeated abilities.
Yeah, let me look at Adaptive Helm. Taking magic damage from a spell or effect reduces all subsequent magic damage taken from that source by 20% for 4 seconds. Multiple sources of magic damage can have this effect active at any one time, and the duration is tracked separately per source. So, sources are...
A champion, right?
No, it does not look like it. It says damage over... Oh, it says strategy. Adaptive Helm is useful against repetitive magic damage. Damage over time, such as Brand's Blaze, Lilia's Dream Laden Bow, her passive, Teemo's Toxic Shot, Leandry's Fiddlesticks R, Katarina R. So it's saying, I'm taking this to mean each ability is its own source, but if multiple abilities are being applied, like if Fiddlesticks is using his R and his W on you, they're both being applied independently, the damage reduction to Adaptive Helm there. Yeah. Well, I mean, Cassiopeia, short cooldown abilities such as Cassiopeia's Twin Fang is mentioned right here. Corky's E, Kale's Q.
Yeah, actually, I remember because when Adaptive Helm was still a good item, Corky was Emax, and if you just built that against Corky, he was just like useless. He did no damage.
Interesting. Yeah, that was a great item, and it was good, I would say, all the time when it was out. Rumble's another one that's not on here. Oh, Rumble's R, or his Q, or Sunfire stuff. Yeah, like it was such a good item, and it was... I understand they got rid of it because they thought it was too niche, but there's a lot of times when it's really good. So bring it back.
Then they made it not niche by making the Andres and Demonic such good items.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
100%. Because back then, that was what, season 10 or season 9. Then it was Leandry's Torment, and that was good, but it wasn't as good. But you would also... the other, what are now mythics, but the other mage items were better. Like Luden's was a lot better of an item. Everfrost didn't exist. What were the other big ones? Morello was actually it was also bad back then. It was probably worse back then, but
It caused the LS debate more over Leandres.
it did, yeah. Yeah.
Did Leandres give Magic Pen?
Let me look. Leandry's Torment, AP 75, 300 health. Let's see. Okay, so damaging an enemy generates 1 stack every second for the next 4 seconds. Deal 2% increased damage up to a maximum of 10. And then dealing ability damage applies a burn that deals 0.75% of the target's max health every half a second over 3 seconds. This is increased to 1.25% of their max health in bonus damage with each tick. So every half second, 1.25% of their max health. So it does 4.5% of their max health bonus magic damage over 3 seconds. This total damage is increased to 7.5% of the target's max health over the duration. So maybe it did, but they might have removed that, I think. But
No,
it's
it was just ramping damage.
Yeah, the ramping damage for sure was on there. And that was something on there. And that's not on there anymore, I don't think. I don't think so.
It's just a burn item now. Really?
Yeah. Oh my god. Leandry's. How do you... Is it a LY?
LIANDRY.
Okay, this... Oh, well, yeah, the wiki search bar was being weird. But yeah, there's no... no ramping at all. That sucks. So... Okay. Anything else we want to talk about with Udyr, or no?
Got a sneaky item that could be good on him.
Ooh, hit us with it.
So this is more for you are not carrying the game. You're just kind of behind, but you need to be frontline for your team. I think if you go like a 3rd item redemption, it could be really, really OP.
I agree. I think that would be really good. Even if you're not carrying, though, are you getting to a 3rd item? That's probably a 2nd item, honestly, then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on. I mean, you could even build it as a 5th or 6th item if the game goes late enough. I think
Agreed.
it's that good of an item. I remember I was live or last season or the season before when Olaf was like 2nd item redemption because the heal power that it gives was just so insane on him. But it also gives shielding power, which would be pretty beneficial to Udyr.
Yeah, it would be for sure. I think there's a lot of low econ, or there's a lot of junglers as well, or a lot of champions that are low econ that should be building these support items. Like I'd say, like Jarvan. You don't after 1 or 2 items, Jarvan's the same champion. He doesn't change at all. He's not any stronger. Okay, he does a little bit more damage, a little more health, but BFD, just build a redemption. Or Sejuani, same thing, build a redemption. Like there's, like you're saying, like there's so many champions in the game that should be building quote unquote support items that are not supports after they've finished their core item build that they're not changing. Not champions like Fiora. Every item Fiora gets, she becomes infinitely more powerful. Camille is the same way. There's a lot of mages in mid lane that are like that. Swain, I would not detour for a redemption on Swain, but I don't know if I'd do it on Udyr, but maybe that'd be interesting. There's a lot of other champs though that would be fantastic on. Do you ever detour off of your main build on Rengar and build a redemption?
I would have to have a very rough game, I think, to be doing that.
I'd
Also,
probably
I think I
report
would
you.
get flamed. Yeah, I would get flames. Probably more than I already get as a jungler.
I challenge you to go Mythic Redemption in your next game on Rengar.
I swear it's not troll, guys.
Yeah,
I promise.
it's not gonna. They'll think it's troll up until they're about to die, and from halfway across the map, you see the redemption come up and save them, or something.
Yeah, I just redemption. I come in and save the day.
I think it'd be really funny also to see. Do you play Duskblade probably on Rengar, right?
Yeah, occasionally.
Yep. So have that, and then you're in a fight or whatever, it's going on, and then all of a sudden the redemption kills someone. Boom, you go invisible.
That would be awesome.
But like redemption on the other side of the map, and you're brawling someone because you're fighting someone in mid lane. Redemption in top lane kills that person or something, and then what the fuck? Where'd this guy go? He didn't kill anyone.
Yeah, where did the Rengar that's ganking me go? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It actually does 10% max health, so that's actually pretty good.
Does it do 10% max health?
Oh my god! Like, what if
Yeah.
GP built it and just sent his ult in and redemption on one
The
area?
redemption
Just,
ult.
yeah, just melt.
Oh my god.
It's just the money bags GP build.
I seriously think redemption's like giga broken on a lot of champions.
Yeah,
People
what?
just refuse to build
Okay, what the fuck? The heal scales up based on level. I thought both the heal and the damage scaled up based on level. But if you were to get this level 1, it still does 10%. Like, oh my god, that's insane. What the hell? This is a Karthus item. This is a Karthus item. You die as Karthus, you use redemption, then you hit R.
Big brain.
Ooh. We're doing a lot of theory crafting right
Oh my
now.
gosh, yeah, can be used while dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
I buy it when I play Jarvan, and I go like first item, and then maybe sometimes a second item, and then redemption.
Like, also with that, you would Karthus would be able to just like constantly have his Eon, just run around with your Eon all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, but and then also like the 16% heal and shield power is probably so underutilized and so underthought about. That's so strong. Is that, I don't know, Fender, is that stronger or weaker compared to a lot the other healing other support items as well?
I think they're actually all like almost in tune with each other because it comes off of the Forbidden Idol. It's where it's the start of it.
Okay. Let's
So
see.
yeah, like Mikhail's is 16%.
Staff is only
8%, but it has
8.
a lot more.
Yeah, because that's right. Didn't they nerf that a little bit?
Yeah.
A few patches ago.
I think if they're like a lot more impactful active or passive abilities, they have less heal and shield power. But if they're not so impactful, they have a lot more heal and shield power.
Gotcha. Yeah, staff flowing water is 8%, so that makes sense because you're giving them 25 to 45 ability power and 20 ability haste. Although it's really hard to actually utilize that all that well. Interesting.
Yeah,
They
what
have
are what are people building instead of like redemption then? Third item on enchanters.
People don't build redemption.
Really?
well, they don't get to third
bet it's
item.
less, I bet it's like at less than 20%.
They don't get to
Like,
third
Yeah, I
item.
mean these stats are like really just it's not that expensive. And the stats are good. Pretty good for how
I don't think it's a
expensive it
support
is.
item personally. I think it's
Everything.
honestly a low econ tank
Yeah, just
item.
yeah, the fact that it builds out of a Kindle gem too is like makes it like easier like stomach just building on literally anybody.
Well, I
Yeah.
feel like you can get it at 3 packs on a jungler. Am I crazy with the gold income? I don't really know jungle income.
You wouldn't get it that fast. I mean, it would never be unless you're playing maybe like Ivern. This is never a first item as a jungler.
Yeah.
You just
No,
need
I'm not saying like first off. I'm saying like
oh,
it feels like 3 clears with like a gank or 2 in there somewhere, and I feel like you have
maybe
this item.
you're getting
Like why
rough.
not build this on Nunu?
Agreed. Tank Nunu with Sunfire into Redemption. Sounds great.
Why not?
You're getting roughly 100 gold per camp in mid game or so. So if you're taking the buffs, you're talking about 600 gold from a clear. So 3, that's 1800 plus the passive time, like the passive gold generation as time goes on. And maybe you get a crab in there. Maybe you get some minions. Maybe you get a kill for sure. More realistically, if you're building this, you're not taking the buffs as well, though. So we have to take away that's 600 gold away from that. So we're talking like 4 clears. So we're looking at like 5 minutes or so to build this. So a normal time if you're low econ, but still, you get that another 2 or 3 minutes before you get, like probably 3 or 4 minutes actually before you get a more expensive item.
Yeah, 2300. Yeah.
That's too low
I guess
priced. Oh
yeah.
God.
I'm thinking, when do you usually get mythic first? Like, what time frame?
I'd say like
All things
11.
go well.
12-ish, 11, 12. 11 to 12. So then probably by
Yeah.
like 17 minutes, if you're still doing well, you could have this online.
I think that's
I think it would be perfect. I think it'd be reasonable to say you could have this item at 20 minutes, and you
Yeah.
could, as long as the game is in equal state. I think you just win a Baron fight.
So
This item.
here, now next patch, Maokai is getting changed. Sunfire,
Yeah.
Redemption, Maokai.
Oh man, that actually that could be gross.
Yeah. Because right now it doesn't, I mean, you could jungle Maokai, and it's not good. But next patch he's going to clear a lot faster, but he's going to be more brawlery. So Sunfire is going to be great on him, and then Redemption, I think, sounds great there.
Yeah.
Also, the thing I find sometimes hard to use about Redemption though is like if your team has some people are going in and some people are far back or poking and stuff, it's really hard to know where to place it based on where the action is. But if you have a face roll, plant your face right into the enemy like is popular in pro play right now, then just get a Redemption and throw it down in the middle of the fight. You're going to get a ton of max damage and you're going to heal everyone in there. Or they're going to run out of the Redemption for some reason, and then you're going to get positional advantage on whatever's going on in the fight.
That's what I'm imagining, because I watch a lot of pro play, and I feel like this item is disgusting.
It is. It's obviously underbought. I would love to know. I'm not exactly sure how to find a stat for what percentage of games it's in, because you have to look by champion, and then it's not that high. But we'll see if we can figure that out and report back, because that seems it seems like it's heavily underutilized given what we're understanding about it in the cost price and the insane amount of damage that shit does.
Yeah. Yeah, for true damage.
Does it do true damage?
Yeah, it says 10%.
Oh
Like
yeah.
maximum
Oh my
health as true
god.
damage. That's so gross.
You're doing
What?
so. Build that against Cho'Gath. You do 700 damage to that fucker
Yeah,
late game.
instantly.
Look at him.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something to consider.
Yep. It's I think people have kind of forgotten about it, especially because that was a great support item to upgrade when Ornn was able to give that an upgrade. But since you can now only upgrade mythics, people don't pay as much attention to it. It's people overbuy Chemtech Putrefier. I don't know. Ardent Sensor, I think, is picked up pretty often with a lot of attack speed. I don't know, like what do you see? What do you guys see other supports going, or what are you building yourself, Fenrir, if you're not building Redemption second item?
Let's see. When I so if I'm playing like Leona, I guess it's hard to pick on some supports because like I like to play engage tanks,
Sure.
and I'm just so far away from my team half the time that this item isn't really useful. But I could see like I think Yumi with this item just seems ridiculous. Uh,
That seems like a fourth item for Yumi. Like I get it, but you would want what, the Ardent Sensor and Staff of Flowing Water before and Moonstone.
mhm. Well, I mean, if your team's all AD, I don't think staff is really
Sure. So
useful.
you could skip Staff, but Ardent Sensor for
Yeah.
sure and Moonstone, I would say, are must-haves.
I think every time I've built it, because I'll say in the 100 games I've played, I'm the only person I've seen build this item,
Wow.
and I probably only built it like 5 or 6 times. 'Cause
Jesus.
To me, it's a third item.
Yeah. Well, so then what are you getting on, like, so some supports that I think it might make sense for, and this is just me, not as a support player, would be, um, I could see it making sense for, like, Janna. I could see it making sense for, Karma, maybe not. No, not Karma, actually.
No, I think Karma would be good with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I've
Blitzcrank.
seen Carmen.
I don't like Blitzcrank just because the active is good, yes, but I think you really need to capitalize on the 16% heal and shield power.
Sure, that's fair because that's the biggest part of
So
it.
you really need to change your system. That's why I don't build it that often because I'm playing engage tanks and
Renata.
the heal really isn't that noticeable. I think Renata could be useful-ish, but you'd have to go not Guardian or Guardian, yeah. You'd have to go Guardian.
She gives shields with her E, and then so that wouldn't necessarily be needed because isn't Guardian in like a terrible spot right now?
Yeah, but I think she
Yeah.
goes Guardian anyway. I don't think she picks it. I don't think she really uses any of the other ones very well.
Oh,
What about Tarek?
I've seen Comet a lot on her.
Seems kind of troll to me, but
Okay. Tarek,
but
I
I also
don't
don't
know.
play Renata a whole lot, so
Just because her poke with E is so strong early in lane.
yeah, when I played Renata, I don't like her as a poke
Okay.
personally. I play her as just like a disengager almost
Gotcha.
completely, except for those one times where you can get the cool flash.
This redemption probably be great on Rakan.
I think it would be insane on Rakan, especially if you can get big charm knockups and you can get the true damage on them, heal you and your jungler top laner that are diving in with you.
Yeah. What about Thresh?
So that's the thing is the 5 times I built it has been on Thresh.
Okay.
But those are the 5 times that I've played as more like a disengager instead of an engager with Thresh.
Sure. Would this
They
ever?
nerfed the hell out of the lantern shield.
Yeah,
so
they
it's
did.
kinda-
Would this ever be an item for support Swain? Because you're gonna get bigger heals. I mean, the heals are only for yourself unless you go Moonstone. If you go Moonstone, Redemption, Swain.
I feel like you play Swain support to just kill the enemy, right?
Sure. That's fair.
Does he still go to the Moonstone? I haven't seen.
Well,
Swain
no.
in a
So
while.
the only reason I bring that up is because Swain's been picked some in LCK playoffs, and I've been watching LS's streams of the games, and he's been saying when Showmakers picked up Swain a couple times that depending on the game, it might make sense to go Moonstone, and he walked through why. But the basic of it is Moonstone makes sense when your team is already ahead and you're basically just needing to not die, and because you're going to be constantly proccing that heal at full value in a team fight as Swain.
Mhm.
So then, and also if you're going, as long as you're not going Leandries, as long as you don't start out with that, the build path for Moonstone and Mandate, which would be your other first item, you both start with that first item, the Bandle Glass Mirror. So you still go Bandle Glass Mirror. and then you can decide at that point later on which one are you building into. So it's the same core build path, then you just swap it out. But it would be really strong. Yes, you're not going to do as much damage, but you're going to be out healing the other team's damage, is the idea behind it. So then redemption would drive that point home even harder.
You're just like really diving into the drain tank.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to die. You're not going to do that much damage, but you're not going to die. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Swain's rework first came out, all the mid laners like CB Erickson, he was big into it. You know, he was always going to Moonstone, so I wasn't sure if they were still.
Oh, gotcha. I haven't seen it
Yeah,
at all, and I haven't heard about it. I mean, I can look. Let me see. What do we got for Swain? I highly doubt that any of his builds that are working right now, if I put him in mid lane, yeah, I mean, Conqueror is just so good on him with then Leandries, so it's hard to recommend anything else. But build paths, I mean, Mandate is on here, but Moonstone is not in any of the item sets that U.GG shows. Now, if I look at the items specifically, Moonstone's not even one in mid lane that has any bit of pick. Support, Moonstone has 180 games so far on this patch, whereas, just for comparison, Leandries, which is the number one, has 17,000 games. So the sample size is insanely small for it. It has a 48% win rate, but on that level of sample size, the win rate doesn't super matter. So yeah, I don't think it's back at all. I don't think anyone's trying it. Doesn't mean that it wouldn't work theoretically, but yeah.
I think right before the durability patch, or maybe right after, they like gutted Moonstone. Actually, they gutted the whole Moon Staff combo. You go Moonstone, Staff of Flowing Water.
Yeah.
Second chances were just automatically, no matter what, going to 1-2.
Yep.
There was even some mid laners that were building it.
Yeah, I'm looking at patch 12.12 because that's the furthest I can go back on U.GG, and it has Moonstone at a 50% win rate on support Swain, with a 1% pick rate. So that's the furthest I can go back, and it seems like that was good then. Moonstone, since then, the win rate is dropping each patch. Okay, 12.14, it's 50%. We're still not even talking about 1,000 games, though, for an entire patch, so people just aren't playing it. So, yeah, I don't know. But I don't have any other thoughts on Udyr at all.
Yeah, I gave my spiel.
Yep. So before we end, what are we all looking forward to with the last bits of playoffs happening right now? Or not necessarily like right now, although maybe there's a series happening today, but what are we looking forward to see for who's going to qualify for Worlds? And have you guys been watching much of it? I know Fenry said you have. What have you been watching? What regions? Okay.
I can't get enough. I love this time of year when it comes to pro play. But I pay attention to LEC the most out of all of them.
Okay, so I haven't paid that much attention to LEC. Have any of them locked world spots yet?
Yeah, so G2 locked Worlds before playoffs even started.
Oh,
Rogue and Mad Lions are also locked.
and they have a fourth spot as well, right?
Yeah, and it'll be between Fnatic or Misfits. I think that game happens tomorrow.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I'm gonna be watching that then.
And so whoever wins that game locks the fourth spot. And then they all kind of play each other for seeding. Rogue and Rogue and G2 can't fall out of going straight to group stage no matter what.
So they can't be the fourth seed. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, third and fourth seed in LEC are play-ins.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. I've been watching a lot of LCK, and I didn't end up finishing the game today, but Damwon did end up. I didn't end up finishing watching it, but Damwon did beat Live Sandbox. So Damwon are locked as the third seed for Worlds. So it'll be Damwon, T1, and Genji in 3-2-1 making it into Worlds, and then so to decide who's going to get the fourth spot, it is tomorrow. I guess actually there's going to be two games for it. It's KT Rolster versus DRX, and the winner of that, I believe, faces Live Sandbox to see who's going to be the fourth seed. But yeah, that's going to be pretty cool because Sandbox kind of fell on their face. They're one of those teams that they're going to go in and they're either going to win or they're going to lose. If they don't win the first couple of fights, they're going to lose the game. But otherwise, they're probably going to win the game. It's so coin flippy. It's absurd. I was watching the game today. They had Nephelios Lulu and no prio mid lane, no prio, and they didn't have their top laner there, and then Damwon did have their top laner there. And Damwon took the dragon, and then they walked in to try to fight it. But the other team had Lucian Nami, and it was against Aphelios Lulu, and then Ari got picked, and it was just like, why are you trying to fight this? Just let them take the first dragon. You have Aphelios. He needs items. He can't do anything on no econ. Like,
Yeah.
the lack of brain power sometimes is astounding that we call these people pro players.
Does Live Sandbox have a closer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. But LCS, I think, is going to go for, another week or so. I don't know. I don't know who else locked worlds. I know C9 has locked worlds from there. I don't know who else has. I imagine TL has, but I'm not sure.
C9 and 100 Thieves are the only two that have locked.
Okay. And NA has 3 spots this time around, I think.
Yep.
Okay. And then I don't know who has from LPL at all. I have no idea.
LPL is JDG top. And then third's been locked as well, and I think they're waiting for their fourth, but I don't remember who the third team is. RNG, I think, is third seed.
LPL playoffs here.
And then fourth seed is between V5, LNG, and one other team. Weibo, I think.
Yeah, right now, I can't even tell. I have to see who. It's hard to even tell from this site here, but let's see. Worlds. Who has spots? Yeah, it's yeah, China. The third one it says is TBD as of. So top 2, like you said, JDG and top esports, but the other 2 have not been decided yet, apparently. Okay, this is for playing stage. Okay, yeah. So yeah, 4 hasn't been locked for anything. Interesting. Europe, they're bottomed. So seats 3 and 4 from LEC are going into the play-ins. I didn't realize they had both of them going in there. Wow.
Yeah, they weren't designed to have 4 people going to Worlds in their playoff format. So everything's been like all kind of screwy in playoffs and LEC.
Oh, gotcha. Yep. Hey, Latin America's already finished. It's Isurus Gaming. I remember seeing them a couple years ago. They made it. And Vietnam, we got
Saigon Buffalo is coming back.
Woo!
Yeah.
Love it. I'm
never
heard
for Shogun. Watch out for him.
Yeah, he was scary. I've never seen this team before from Turkey, and I think it's the PCS. CTBC Flying Oyster. That's their
A Flying Oysters.
I know. That's the only team that's there. They don't have their first seed locked though yet. So the Oysters probably have one of them, or maybe they're guaranteed. I don't exactly know, but yeah. Flying Oyster. I love that shit. But yeah. All right, gentlemen, should we wrap it up?
Do it.
Cool. So, thanks for tuning in, everyone. This has been episode 779 of the Trinity Force podcast. This will be up on YouTube in the next day or so. We have community game nights at 7:15 Eastern time. And those will move in according with daylight savings, which is creeping up on us. Yikes, it's already fall. if you're looking for people to join your Clash team and stuff, we have a pretty active Clash team finder in our Discord, and please join our Discord as well. There's all sorts of people playing games and hanging out and such, and yeah, so I stream sometimes at twitch.tv/NA_Eric. These other two fine fellows don't stream currently, so maybe we'll convince them to start doing it again. But yeah,
I
other
have a
than
Twitch.
oh, you do?
Yeah.
What's your Twitch?
It's
Plug it.
It's Fenrir_LOL.
Okay. Does it have the accent on the E like your in-game name does?
No, you
Okay.
can't have accents on Twitch.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
It's
So
just Fenrir, no accents.
cool. Give him a follow, and maybe with enough peer pressure, we'll get him to start streaming again. But other than that, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and have your rest of your day.
Bye.